Hi everyone, it's David. I'm going to be going over some teaching tips for this activity, water molecules. So for this activity, the oxygens weigh 5 in Mojadito land, and hydrogens are even numbers. So the first thing you want to do is just have them work through this example, ask the students to say to explain these words to you, and to have them calculate that this one is 17. And then you can maybe have them work through another example where this is 33. And one of the things they're trying to find is the book of Whetstone has all the possible weights. So then asking them which of these three numbers is a possible weight. So for instance, some tools you can use is like trial and error, and really get the students to try and use these techniques. Don't just lecture and do them yourself. So for trial and error, they might guess that hydrogen is 8. So then you have 5 plus 8 plus 8 is 21, and they see that shouldn't work, and then they can do 10. So then 5 plus 10 plus 10 is 25, so that doesn't work. You can also have them reverse. So we don't want them to do algebra. They won't have the skills if you try and do something like 2x plus 5. But you can reverse it, for instance, by going 49 minus 5 is 44, and then 44 divided by 2 is 22. So they see that 5, 22, and 22 will work, and that 49 is in the book. So 23 doesn't work. And then for 58, you can use either of these techniques, but hopefully you want them to see and to say that you cannot have an even number. So you might say something like, what can we say about the weight? Or how could we know that 58? Or just go through these processes and see that you would need a fraction. But we want you to really get them to say that it cannot be even. So then the next activity is you're going to want the students to give you a secret number. So they can just try something like 5 and 126. And then they should get 257, and then but you don't want them to show the molecules, so they might give 257, and the other students will have to work out that it's 126. Okay, and then after they give you this number, you can have another student give you one number that is a weight and one that is not a weight. And then the last thing that you're going to do is to do this pattern thing where you want to find all the possible numbers using the next page. So if we go to the next page, you'll see here that you can just start by doing 5, 2, and 2, and that's 9. But again, don't try and see if you can get the students to say what the first number is and then ask them what the next number is. Again, we want them to sort of think, and then that should be 13, and then the next one would be 17, and then the next one would be 21. And then you really want them to notice that you get these 25, 29, 33, that it'll be these 3 rows. They should be able to see that, but then you can sort of ask them, why is that? And they should be able to see that it's sort of increasing by 4, and that this is a table of 12, but you want them to sort of see that. And then the final activity or the final 2 activities are for them to find as large a possible number. So and then you can have them do it from 10,000 and suggest some things like either reversing or taking up an approximation of saying 10,000, and it most has to be hydrogen. So maybe they try something like 5,000, but then this won't work. So maybe they can just go down by 1 or 2. So if they try, actually, I think you need 4997, 4997, and 5. And if you combine these, you get, let's see, 99. So let's see. So this would be 9997. So then the last thing you can do with them, if you have time, is to go over these legends. So if two numbers are in the book, then their sum is in the book. And then they should be able to see that this is, and you can sort of get them, what do we know about numbers in the book? And we know that they're odd numbers. So an odd plus an odd is an even. So you can start off by asking them what we know about the numbers, and then they should be, and then just sort of let them work through and see if they can see that this is not possible. And then these two are a bit more complicated. The multiply by 5, so both of these are true. And the way that you can show them that it's true is that if you have a number that's like, if you take two numbers that's like 5 and an even, then you can do 5 times 5 is 25, which is 5 plus 20 plus 5 times an even. And then you can just, you can call this even number, like I think the book does something like a diamond, but you can just do a shape for this even number. But the thing is, like, try not to use X or symbols that they're not familiar with, but just replace it with some number and do the algebra in the background. And then this is sort of the hard one where they have to do 5 plus the book does tree. And then you can maybe start them out with this, but again, we really want them times 5, 5 plus 2 plus tree plus tree. So sorry, let me clear that. You can do something like 5 plus triangle plus triangle, and then you can multiply that by some number like 5 plus square, and then they can see that you get the 25 again, and you can sort of point back to the previous one. But these are just sort of some techniques, some tricks you can use. Also, things to do is to ask students how they can represent it. So like, as opposed to asking maybe there are some 8th graders that can explain this if they've had algebra. And I'll always make sure that you ask students to explain their reasoning, that you don't just accept it if the answer happens to be true. And you're always asking why. And if they give you a false answer, you can ask why as well. So that's it for this. Hope if you have any further questions, feel free to ask us.